Just as the European Union was signing its biggest ever free trade deal here in Paraguay with South America's Mercosur bloc, news broke that Donald Trump was threatening fresh tariffs, this time as part of the row over Greenland's future. I sat down with the EU's trade chief to ask him what happens next. Commissioner, you've come to Paraguay to sign a deal that is decades in the making, the EU's biggest ever trade deal. But it's been overshadowed in headlines by news from President Trump, threats to impose tariffs over disagreements on Greenland. What do you do now?
I think that nothing can take the joy away from us today, because indeed, as you said, it was more than 20 years in the making, and I think that by this agreement, I think we are sending very clear message to the world that Mercosur and European Union countries are for low tariffs, for smooth trade, for creating the better quality and better prices for our consumers, and we just simply want to work together, the friends of partners, on mutual advantages project. So I think that was clearly the mood also in the room, despite of whatever message is coming from abroad, because we've been really focused on how to take the best possible advantage of this agreement, which indeed, as you said, is groundbreaking because of the size, biggest in the world, 4 times bigger than Japan, and also because of complementarity of our economy. So I'm sure that all the projections we have right now, how good it would be surpassed by even better results on the ground, because we will see how predictability, certainty, and fairness of trade dealing brings positive results and higher investments.
Fairness is a word you used there. I have to press you on this, because you know this is what citizens of the EU want to understand, and businesses. With this latest threats of tariffs from the United States, how can you respond?
I think that our leaders already reacted. There is the consultation among the leaders going on. And I think first and foremost, we again stayed very, very clear on our principles. For us, territorial sovereignty, integrity, international law are absolutely key principles. And we as Europeans clearly are very much united on these principles. We are also convinced that the imposing tariffs would or could bring us to the very dangerous downward spiral, and that we should simply avoid this type of development. So it's very fresh. It's just happened a few hours ago, but these are clearly the first very clear reactions, and we Europeans are in strong solidarity with each other, and I'm 100% sure that unity and solidarity also in these questions clearly will prevail.
There is a fear now this could lead to the unraveling of the entire deal struck between the European Union and the United States. The centre-right European People's Party has already said they don't think it's possible to approve it in parliamentary terms. Could you see this entire deal unraveling because of these latest threats? Of
course, I would say this statements are not making our lives easier, because I mean, when we were signing the joint statement, part of that agreement was that we want to fully implement it and do it as quickly as possible. Now, of course, it will be very complicated, because the political reactions to such a strong statements are already coming. But let's see. What would be the next steps. What I just would like to highlight is the fact that the message we are sending today from Asuncion is so important, because only this agreement should help us more than offset the negative consequences from the increased tariff imposed by United States. And I think it's just the beginning, because when I see the opportunities which are being opened for our complementary economies, be it in machinery, car making, but also in agri-food industry, and what is absolutely new strategic area. These are the critical raw minerals where Mercosur countries have a huge reserve and where we have a big appetite, and we've been discussing already concrete projects, what we can do together to simply reduce our dependencies, be it on difficult trading partners or be it on a small number of suppliers. And therefore I think that in this particular situation, predictability, certainty, fair approach and partnership are the best answer to the challenges we are all facing.
And there are critics within the European Union, particularly I've spoken to farmers, French officials, of course, who are complaining that they feel the way this deal is moving forward isn't democratic enough. They feel their voice hasn't been sufficiently heard. How do you respond to those criticisms?
I think that this was one of the longest negotiations I would recall, 20-25 years. And especially this intensive phase since, I would say, 2 years ago, led to even difficult to count how many consultations, discussions we went with our member states, with the key stakeholders through every single details. And I spent literally the dozens and dozens of hours, be it with agri-food representatives, farmers' representatives. I visited many farms myself. I went to the national parliaments in almost all countries where agriculture is so sensitive. And what I want to say is that we listened to them. So the agreement which we signed today is different than the agreement which was on the table a couple of years ago. And on top of it, even since the signature in Montevideo a year ago, we brought additional safeguards. We brought the financial safety net. We did so much in broad alignment of our practices that I'm absolutely convinced that the same scenario we had with the free trade agreement with Canada, where also farmers been very worried about the consequences, and today they are extremely pleased with the fact that trade goes through the roof. Over the last 7 years, the trade volumes increased by 60%. None of the worries, none of the concerns the farmers been so worried about before this agreement entered into force have materialized, and I believe that this would be the same case. So I'm absolutely convinced that European agri-food industry is the global superpower. We are exporting 235 billion a year with a surplus more than 60 billion. So it just proves that we are very, very competitive in that area. And I'm sure that no agreement will take this competitiveness away from European partners. And this agreement, because we knew how sensitive it is, was negotiated very carefully. We've been extremely cautious if it comes to all sensitive commodities. And therefore, I believe that mutual benefits for Mercosur countries and for you will prove us right. And if there will be any risks, any developments which will be negative, we have so many possibilities how to make sure that they will not materialize. That I'm absolutely convinced that there will be very positive outcome, much better than we expect today.